Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Diversities Lit Book Club. Oh, I can put the bottom banner since it's just us two. Um, Super happy that you're here. Um, we will be discussing our, what was that, November Book of the Month pick. When we're well into the next month, I get confused, but we'll be discussing our November pick, which was The Beast in the Winds, which is a Tales of Southeast Asia's Mythical Creatures. It's an anthology involving 17 authors, and it's edited by Hanna Alkaf. Um, this is a middle grade fantasy. So if you don't care about spoilers, because we will be talking spoilers, then feel free to keep watching and join us in the comments. If you want to read this book and don't want to be spoiled on what we discuss, then save this video, click out, read the book, and then come back and join us in the comments, because we like to hear all of your thoughts, feels, and opinions as we will be sharing today. Um, Not all of our co-hosts are here today, but everyone is linked down below, so please give them a follow. If you don't know who I am, I'm Holly Davis. I am the author. I have so many books on my thing. I'm the author of A Diamond Bright and Broken, which is a YA fantasy. I pitched this as a Tangled retelling with a gender-bent Flynn writer. But there is disability rep with a wheelchair crutch user, sapphic no spice romance, unique magic. So if that sounds good to you, then you should enjoy this book. And it also involves BIPOC main characters. Both are biracial female main characters. So definitely check it out if you're interested in that. And so I have only written YA fantasy up to this point, but I love reading all genres, but my main bread and butter are YA and middle grade fantasies. But this year I was also very much into like mysteries and thrillers because I was working on my own fantasy, so I needed to dive into other real life worlds.
Hi. Well, hi everyone. I'm Vanessa. Go by Vanessa Marie Books here on YouTube, and I write fantasy, paranormal, horror, but also some poetry and nonfiction. I am the author of A Writer's Guide to Writing Diverse Characters, Disability, which Holly you've read, and yeah, I am super excited to talk about uh, this anthology because I love mythical creatures, so this was a fun one to explore.
Yes, and this book, definitely check out the physical version if you are able to, because they have 2-page spreads for each of the creatures with really good pictures and descriptions, and they'll have like, taped leaves and taped like fur and things like that. So it's super fun um, for everyone to enjoy. And so let's see. So, I was starting to go into where I have the trigger warnings, which are very light for this middle grade. But I got distracted because I saw Vanessa put some book recommendations. So definitely, if you have some book recommendations for books by BIPOC authors that you would want to be featured on a future poll as an option for us to read as our book of the month pick, definitely drop those in the forums. Our group is over on Goodreads, which is also linked down below. But let me find our let me find this here. Okay. And it was pretty short, but I feel like might be comprehensive. Let's see. Oh, I already think of something. So the trigger warnings, which are always not always, but sometimes aren't complete when we post them in the forums, but they include grief, loss, murder, haunting, fear, possession, missing people, mention of eating children, and divorce. I can also think of bullying. I guess
Mention of colonization.
yes. Colonization. I'm not thinking of the word, but the kid asking like, well, where are you really from? I can't think of the
Microaggressions.
yes, microaggression. There you go. Um,
Uh, yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay.
Death of a family member.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Death of a family member. Um, okay. So, our first question is, what are your general overall thoughts, feels, and opinions on the book? Um, what star rating or number rating would you give it on Goodreads or your platform of choice, Storygraph or otherwise?
Um, well, I really love this. There was a lot of stories in here that I really liked. I gave this overall 5 stars. Yeah, there's which we'll get into specific stories in a bit, but I do have some notes for some of them. But yeah, I really like the stories. I love the artwork and the little fun facts they give you about the mythical creature before the story begins. So I thought that was a lot of fun. And each story was, you know, a creature I don't think I've heard or known about before, except for one. I did know about the Aswang, which we'll talk about when we get to that story.
Oh,
But that's because of Grimm. I recently rewatched all of Grimm, and so there's an episode with an Aswang in there.
cool. That's awesome. I forgot that I started Grimm like way back when and I never finished it, but it was good from what I did see. Um, but it's funny that you had heard of one creature because, well, technically two, but really only one. The Tikbalang, I knew I had heard of because I had been researching creatures in the past for another story I've written. And so I remember coming across the Tikbalang in my research, but I have heard of the term Garuda. I didn't know what it was, but I'd only heard of it through it's actually the name of a boss in Final Fantasy 14, which is the MMORPG that my husband and I play. Um, so that was really funny. I was like, wait, I've heard him say that name before. So now I want to, when I get to that boss, I want to see like, is it like a direct parallel to the actual mythical creature? Um, but yeah, I also loved this book. Really also enjoyed the pictures and getting to know about the creature before I read it because then it kind of gave me a sense of like, oh, this creature can go either way. It can be nice, but sometimes it can be mean if you are disrespectful to it, while others are good spirits and others like, oh yeah, they're not good. So it was kind of fun to like go in with creatures that were, you know, you didn't know what to expect with like which way they would go in the story. Um, but yeah, so I can't wait to talk about like my favorites as well, and hopefully we have some similar ones. There were I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because there were a couple stories that like there was one that I was just really confused on at the start because there were a whole bunch of names that were thrown in that just like I didn't know what was going on in the story. And then there was another one that the creature didn't really have a prominent role in the story. It was more just like talked about. And then there was one I like felt like it was kind of left on a cliffhanger, like it could have had more. I was like, you didn't wrap it up in a pretty little bow like most of the other stories do. So because there were a few that didn't quite resonate with me, that's why I dropped it down. But for the most part, like because I was circling every number that of the stories I enjoyed, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like circling pretty much all of them.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
So yeah,
Was
I
I was gonna say the one that you said had a lot of names and was confusing at first. Was that the one with the tick below?
yeah, that one and the mystery of the meowing Mexican.
Because
Yeah.
that one I did have to reread a second time because I was getting confused as well
Yeah.
with all the names.
Yeah, and partly I think it was because like especially with that the mystery of the meowing Mexique, it was the second story. So because they were talking about Mock and Pock, I didn't realize that that was their names for like mom and pop, like mom and pop, like ma and pa. So as I was reading, I'm like, are these friends? Are these like, and everyone kind of had similar names. And so then that's then going into the very last story, like it took a while to get into like, oh, what's the main character's first name, because that can help ground me. I'm like, is this character a male or a female? I don't even know. So yeah, there was a little bit of confusion with those two tales. So
Yeah. Um, I liked that one too. Uh, the mystery of the Mowing Mystic. Um, that one, I like the mystery detective aspect of it and how she's like trying to be like Sherlock Holmes and like wanting a mystery to solve, and then she finally gets one. And of course, like most kids, gets way in over her head, um, and needed help at the end, which luckily, uh, um, Nick Hugh, I think they said, was the one who got her family and told them where she went, and they all went together. Because I was kind of worried towards the end there when she was confronting the person, because I was like, this isn't gonna go well. How is this gonna end? Um, but luckily, yeah, she had her community come help her. So, um, and also like when she was going to, uh, I think they called it like a witch or something.
yeah, the witch doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, when she went to the witch house and she's going through the forest and stuff. I don't know. I kind of got a little bit of a Hansel Gretel vibe around that time, so I thought
Yeah,
that was
that's
interesting.
true. Yeah, I liked that she like figured out that the person who she thought was like helping them was the culprit. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I know we just read like Blood in the Water, and so we like these young detectives trying to solve the mysteries. So once like I figured out like who was who, it made sense. But even at the beginning, yeah, like when it took me a while to realize, oh, this it's a person who's like had a spell put on them to act like a cat. Because at first I was like, are they just trying to save their cat? And then I was like, no, this is a person.
Yeah.
um, but it's cool that like the Pellicet, like, yeah, they don't attack on their own. Like someone has to tell them, you know, to find a victim. So that was I like the lore behind that creature. So
Also makes me think of um, uh, for a minute. It reminded me of golems in like Jewish mythology, how
mm,
have a master, like someone creates them, and the master they are like supposed to protect their master and stuff. So they don't actually like uh, they're not really there, I think, to attack or go after anyone else. It's more to protect the person who created them, I believe. Um, but I like don't quote any of that because all I know about films is from uh, I think they were in Grimm as well. There was another
Mm.
one, I think in Grimm, but then also in Supernatural, they had an episode with them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they would be there.
So,
Yeah, and then the
then
next oh, you
oh,
go.
I was just gonna say, do you want to talk about the next one after that was the girl in the graveyard?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
was just say, oh, the next one too I really liked.
that one was my favorite one?
Yes. So this is the girl in the graveyard and the oh, I guess we could say like the creature too. The Pellicet was the first one and then the Tan Trung was in this one. I loved this one too. It was-
Yeah, I did not. I reread this one twice as well because the first time I did not see that twist with him being in the hospital in a coma, which is why no one can. His parents aren't interacting with him or anything. I did not pick up on that. Um, so I reread it, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, they did give you all the hints and clues. It's all there." I think the first time when I read it, I think because uh, the story, they do a good job on getting us to focus on the aunt's death and the grandma who's sick and possibly dying next, and the little facts in the beginning with the artwork talks about how this creature like is known to like I think hang around graveyards when one family member dies. They like get information, which means someone else would be dying as well soon. And so the whole time I was thinking that meant the grandma, since she was so sick, she was gonna end up dying soon. And so I was focused on that, and I was thinking like the parents not really interacting with them was because they were so focused on those two things, like the aunt's funeral and the grandma almost like being close to death. I thought they were just so overwhelmed with those two situations. That's why they weren't really paying attention to them at first. And then, when I reread it, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
I did catch it, like not the first like one or two times that they like ignored him. Um, but it was when where did I put? Oh, they were like they're acting like ghosts and ignoring him, and then I put he's dead just because I was like I realized I'm like they have not said one word to him,
Mm.
and that's so like far off of like just grieving and being busy for their to like not even say a word to their child. I was like they're not eating with him because he's not there. And like they're
Well,
grieving his
with
but I
that,
thought he was dead, not that he was in a coma. So that was a good twist too, even if you realize something was going on with him.
and I thought he was eating with them because they talked about him being at the table eating dinner with them, but they uh, his parents just weren't paying attention to him. So in the beginning, the first couple times, I kind of overlooked that they weren't paying them attention. And at that time, with them at dinner, I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. Why they ignored them? But that's why I thought, well, maybe they have so much going on in their head with everything that's happening that they can't really be present for him. Uh,
Mhm.
so that's why I thought, because he was at the table as if he was having dinner with them. So I just
You
didn't
just
think he was not there.
Well, yeah, and then when he like I didn't catch it when they were ignoring him when he was asking if he could go um with Lone, and so and even when Jay was interacting with his grandma, like I didn't and I didn't realize that either, and he like helped her with the bracelet and everything, and so it just didn't
Well,
yeah.
it didn't make it seem like they did a good job of making it seem like he what like with the grandma and the bracelet and stuff, he tried to put the bracelet on her, but he was like, there's something wrong with the clasp, so it wouldn't stay on. It fell off her. And so, I'm thinking, okay, so it's the bracelet. It's not like he can't put it on because he's not
Oh.
actually there. Um,
Ooh, I didn't catch that part. I was just like, "Yeah, he couldn't put it on. It was broken."
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, the bracelet's broken, makes sense. Um, but I do wonder how he picked it up to begin with.
Mm.
So,
I mean, Lone was even able to, like, steal the
yeah.
Dala horse, so they have some sort of they still have some sort of connection to, like, the physical world, I guess. That those
Mhm.
are their rules, but I was so like, because I read, like, about the Tan Trung at the beginning, and Lone's like, "Yeah, I got your address. I told the funeral director we're friends," and I was like, "Oh, she hella sus, like, she is." And that's why I thought too that the grandma was gonna die, 'cause I'm like, she's trying to get all this information from him, and he's just dishing it out,
Mhm.
and so that's why it was so cool at the end that, like, the grandma didn't die and he didn't die. Like, he struck a deal with her. He's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, can you just, like, not tell them any of the information that I gave you so that, like because we're friends," and then he came out of the coma, so that was, like,
Mhm.
cool that it was a happy ending for everyone, but yeah,
Yeah.
and then it was sad too, like, how he got in his coma, like, drowning, swimming out to the island to get the pebble and
Yeah.
like, oh, that was, like, heartbreaking that he didn't even he's like, "Oh, yeah, I did this," and then, "Oh, wait, I don't remember," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's when, like I said, when I reread it, um, I was marking all the little hints. So, like when he um was saying uh, he couldn't remember the details of his great aunt on their last visit. It all seemed like a foggy blur.
Mm,
He shook his head, wanting to move on. So um, that was the first thing I picked up on the second read, and then
oh.
it was the stuff with his parents asking if they want help. Um, but you see, like this scene, he says he reached out to his mom as she passed with a tureen of crab and asparagus soup. Mom, do you need any help? She mumbled something to herself, lost in her own thoughts, not exactly an answer. Trey looked upstairs. He may as well retreat. It wasn't like he was doing anything useful downstairs. And so, like, and they said she had mumbled something to herself, and that's why I'm thinking, like, okay, they are lost in their own, they have so much going through their heads, their minds, with everything going on. So that's why they weren't paying attention to him.
Yeah.
Because that's how it comes off at first. So,
Yeah, I think they did who's the author? A really great job at like dropping the bread crumbs. Oh,
mhm,
let me see. Let me just give a good name for this. Brandon Huang. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, like I said, this one was my favorite in this story. Um, and so at the back, at the end, um, where they give the brief bios of all the authors in here,
Mm,
I see he has a young adult novel called Gloria Brunrostro is Not My Girlfriend, and a middle grade novel called The Crossbow of Destiny. I was like, I want to check out those.
oh, yes. I didn't even think about that. Then looking and seeing what else they've written.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good call out. I'm definitely going to do that too because I liked his writing style. I really loved the story. I didn't even like think about like which one is my like most favorite. But this one might actually be my favorite one too.
It was
Um,
my favorite because of the twist, not
yeah.
saying that. So,
Yeah. Just so good, so good.
yeah. Um, see, which one do you want to go to?
Let's see. Did you like the egg? The fourth one?
Um, oh, the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that one was okay. I
Mhm.
don't think I marked anything in this one. um, I mean, I liked it. I don't love it like the others.
Yeah. I just liked how at the end they didn't give the egg to or the
Mhm,
Carwake, yeah, to the general. Um, because it said in the thinking of what the general would do to it, the Kerouac would never sing a. Oh wait, where is that? Hold on, let me see. Page 85. Never would. The Kerouac would live in a gilded cage, its wings clipped for soldiers and diplomats to gawk at. One day someone would ask, "Shouldn't you free it from good karma?" And the general would scoff, "It's happy here, otherwise it would leave." And the Kerouac would never sing again, and I would do my best to forget the strains of its melody, but the song would haunt me forever. And so I was like, "Oh, I love this." Like she set it free and it sang and then she sang with it. So I liked the picture of that ending. It was
mhm,
beautiful. So,
yeah.
um, okay, let's see what else.
Did you? Let me see. Did you have fish out of water?
I did. I liked that one because it's like, you know, the older brother has to believe in the mythical creature and that's what saves them and
Mhm,
the little brother keeps saying like it's not a kitten, it's a merlion. And he's like, it's just a kitten. And then, then the then he slips on the rock and falls into the water with the merlion. And even then still the brother jumps in and saves his brother, but they're still like not,
away from
right, they're not back on shore. And so the brother's like, you still have to find, believe. And he's like, fine.
Mhm.
And then the merlion saves him. So I thought that was cute.
Yeah. It what this one reminded me of was Tinkerbell. How you have to
Oh,
believe for her to like fly or have her wings and stuff. And
oh,
so that's what this one kind of reminded me of because he had to believe in the merlion before it could do anything to save them.
that's a good analogy to like the Tinkerbell. Um, and then I really liked with the story too because like their mom had died. And on page 101, so it was very heartfelt because on 101 it said, or Ahan, the older brother, said he wished magic was real. When their mom had died, he thought if he prayed hard enough, she'd come back to life in a poof of magic. He had believed so hard it almost seemed real. He could see her walking in through the front door. She would ruffle his hair and hug him to her side. But in the end, the only magic was the trick that had turned his mom from someone he saw every day into a person who didn't exist anymore.
Mm,
Ahan was too old to believe in magic. Mm. So like, oh, that just killed me. It was so like, so even through like his grief of realizing that magic can't bring his mom back,
yeah,
he still found that strength to believe in the merlion and believe his because he had a dream, right? Like,
yeah.
yes, he had, believe the dream, believe his brother.
Mm,
Um, so, ugh, it's like makes me feel things.
mm,
So, um,
mm.
I also had the Oliver Santos and the best birthday yet. It was that the Oswong, the one that you knew.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because this
Uh,
kind of reminded me of like Sarah Boateng,
mm,
in the Vampire Hunter. s- like I like that because like I didn't get like it was kind of like twisty at the end too because he was like, everyone's making such a big deal about me turning 12, like it's just the same thing except instead of 11 now I'm 12. And like,
mm,
and I, but they're like, oh, it's kind of like a quinceañera, like 12 is the next like big stage of things. And so I was just like, yeah, they're just excited, he's like getting closer to being a teen.
mm,
um and so then like to find out that all of the Aswangs like lived together in this community, and that's why his family had moved from the city to this like remote, you know uh what's it called, like forest area. um so that was really fun. I really liked that, and that he like found friends because a lot of these tales had kids that were bullies. And so he's like, I thought I'd gotten away from the bullies, but then he ended up being friends with the kids who were also Aswangs, or Mananangals, which are like a form of Aswang. So
yeah. I really like that. Just like his so it's basically like a coming of age story and him discovering who he really is, which I thought was so cool and interesting. Um, Definitely more kid friendly than the current version. The version, I'm like, that's a way darker story. Um, Probably too dark for middle grade, but I thought it was interesting how in the information graphic for the aswang. It says, it says, aswang have a rich history in Filipino folklore. Stories about them have been passed down for generations. There are many different regional variations throughout the Philippine Islands portraying them as witches, ghouls, werewolves, were-dogs, birds, and vampires. In some popular myths, the aswang eat small children or even corpses, after which they replace the cadaver with the banana tree trunk. And I thought that was
Mhm.
the eat the small children part was interesting because in the Grimm episode, the aswang has to feed on the firstborn. Um, so
Oh,
there,
wow.
so it starts off. There's this couple who are about to have their first child, um, and the dad is an aswang, and so his family are all aswang, and his mom comes into town, and I guess the tradition in within aswang is like the grandparent feeds off the first child,
Oh my gosh.
the first born grandchild, and that I think I can't remember exactly. I think it was to help them survive or live longer or something like that. So I think like if they don't do it, um, their lifespan is cut shorter. And so the mom was
Mm.
wanting to do that, but obviously the son didn't want her in their
Oh.
firstborn. Um, so yeah, that was the episode. Way darker, like I said.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Um, but
That's
yeah,
cool though.
I thought it was interesting about that detail about eating small kids because I'm like, that's where they got the inspiration for that episode.
Yeah, that's cool. I feel like I want to like watch that episode. Like it'd be really interesting. Some really
It's season 3, episode 14. It's called
okay.
Mommy Dearest.
Okay, cool. Grandmas. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. Because yeah, and then especially knowing that they can be so many different things. They could be more vampire, werewolf, were-dog, a bird. Like that's the cool thing too, is that they can be portrayed in so many different ways. So kind of makes the possibilities endless. So
Yeah.
um
Um,
yes. Let's
but I
see.
do. I also did like that he finally made some friends that
Hmm.
understood him.
And that's who like the grandma Lola was like making sure that his friends were there so that they could do his first flight with him. I thought that was sweet
Yeah.
because they knew he was like, hurry up. And then she was and the mom was so specific about like at 12:03 a.m. like very specific about the time because it's like this is exactly when you'll be able to fly and transform.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I wonder too if like the werewolves or weredogs if maybe they don't have wings too, but yeah, because like at least the picture portrayed with if they're like a bird or at least like the picture here they have wings, so maybe not all Aswangs can fly. So I wonder then if their first you know transformation, everyone's is kind of different. So
Yeah.
oh,
Um, did did you do the next one?
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, I hope you're gonna say the next one.
The Curse of Some Columba?
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love that one too. And just the first line. The rocks were elephants once. Oh, that just gripped me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like 5 words and I'm like a puddle. Because I was like, that drew me in. What are you talking about? Um this
This,
no, you go.
I was going to say, this one reminds me of two things. At first, it reminded me of the story of Medusa because, they were people were getting turned into stones.
Yeah.
Um, but then later on, when we get the true story of the giant, like her whole story, she where she said, "I see my tale must be told again properly this time," and then we find out what actually happened and everything. And I was like, it kind of makes me think of Wicked because um, her story got twisted in a way to make her seem like evil or bad, but she's not.
That's so true. Oh my gosh, I didn't even like pick up on that. This San Kalimbai is like Alphaba. That's so good. That's such a good catch. I like that was heartbreaking to be like she was really trying to protect the elephants from the poacher's trap, but no one knew that. And then they were just afraid of her ever since then. And
Mhm.
so she stays away to because she doesn't want to hurt them. And
Right.
so I'm like, this is so heartbreaking. And um that the parallels, I feel like also a lot of the stories I liked were the ones where the parallels of the creature's problem or resolution is like the same as the main characters, or they like learn a lesson in their real life from the creature. And so this
Yeah.
one had that so much with Nabila's mother, like, you know, going away so that, after the divorce for this unforeseen time frame, and Nabila has to leave her best friend, and she's like, I didn't need to leave, but mom did. Um and so there were so many heartfelt like parts of this, like where is it, page 159. um Nanek Nanek, which was the grandma, um didn't seem to this, yeah, 159, didn't seem to like this. Young girls like you should be helping your mother more, she grumbled, poking Nabila in the ribs with one sharp finger, especially now, what with everything she's going through. I'm going through it too, Nabila thought. He left me too. But she knew better than to say it out loud. Her
Mhm.
mother might be willing to accept her newfound rebelliousness, but her grandma was a lot less malleable. So instead of fighting back the way she longed to, she obediently put her phone down. And so I was just like, this is so sad because it's like she is going through such a tough, you know, experience with her parents' divorce and doesn't feel like she has anyone to talk to. And then she finds the song Kalembai, who she forms this bond with. Um, where was it here? Oh, um,
I also like how um, she kind of learns uh, when she's talking to Columbine, like on the bottom of 171, she says, "Listen, child, what you desire is an end to your pain, but disappearing is not the answer. Not for you. Nebula blinked back the tears. Why not? He left us. Sometimes parting is the choice you must make to stop the hurt. It didn't stop it, she cried, and the tears began to fall freely now. It hurts anyway. What was the point then? Why can't we just go on the way we were? Some Columba lifted a great stone finger and gently, so unbearably gently, wiped away the tears. Imagine then, she whispered, imagine what kind of hurt would have been in store if he stayed. And I was like, oh, that's such
Oh,
lesson.
oh, yes. I had that too. And then even on that page 172, Songkalembai said, but you do not want to disappear. Believe this too. They call it Songkalembai's curse, this ability to turn things to stone. But the real curse is my loneliness. The real curse is not being able to be with the people I love for fear that I may hurt them. Your rage is first a weapon, then a wall between yourself and the world. You do not want this, little one. Oh,
Yeah.
my heart. Oh, this might be my second fave. Yeah, this one, because this one's just so, so sweet. But I did wish there was like a little more resolution at the end, because at first she had ignored the phone call when she was in the forest because she just ran away. And then at the end, her mom calls and she doesn't ignore the call. She answers it, but then she just says, her mom's like, "It's getting dark. Where are you?" And she's like, "Sorry, I'm coming." And she's like, I'm coming home right now." And then the mom said, "That's good." She said softly, "Come, Bila, come home." And so like there was this kind of hint that like, yes, things are going to be resolved, but like I still wish I kind of saw the mom, maybe apologize for being like, "I'm ignoring your feelings in this too. I need to be taking this more into account. Let's talk about it when you get home," like, or something like that, like just a little bit more resolution, just because I loved it so much. But at the end I was like, wait, but we're just
Yeah.
implying that like things are going to be better when she goes back home. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that was a beautiful story. um oh my gosh, I have so many more that are circled.
Yeah. Let me see. The next one I had was Rich and Strange
Yep.
with the Bigfoot or
Yes.
the orang put
The orang padunk.
yeah orang put
Or no, pendek, sorry. Orang pendek.
this one
Yes.
this one surprisingly I had a lot of notes on because first off I said I thought it was really interesting how they connected that to the American myth of Bigfoot.
Yes.
They connected the two cultures of mythology in that way. Um, and then one thing I wasn't expecting was I wasn't expecting the story to touch on colonization and oppression.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, let's see.
Same. This one had a lot in it.
Yeah,
And it started off really funny, but then it had, those more like serious moments, because I also got drew into this opening just because it was funny. Like, behold Bigfoot. I do not behold Bigfoot. I do behold Bigfoot t-shirts and Bigfoot bumper stickers and coffee mugs and keychains and trucker hats, all featuring cartoon images of a giant hairy creature with abnormally large feet. So I just thought that was so
Yeah,
but then it got really dark. I'm just kidding.
yeah. Then he started talking with, was it his grandfather? Or,
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, with
he
Opa,
was
yeah.
talking to him about um, uh, Indonesia and let's see, um, and how the Dutch colonized Indonesia, and then why he came to the U.S. Uh, he said, to me, America represented freedom. It represented the chance to become anything you wanted. And if the Van Halen brothers could become, uh, could belong here, maybe I could too. Um, and he says, what happened? Did you meet the Van Halen brothers? Did you hang out with rock stars? No, I got a job at a grocery store. In life in America, it was mostly good, but people from other places aren't always treated right. And that's true now. And it's been true as long as there's been a United States of America. Um, in the 1950s, only 100 people with Indonesian ancestry were allowed to immigrate per year. And that's not long before I was born. And even then, the US complained that those of us moving here from Holland were as Dutch as they wanted. We were too Indonesian, too dark. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
this.
That
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that was interesting to me because I didn't know that about, like, the Dutch colony and
Yeah,
everything, so and learning that, like, yeah, only 100 people with Indonesian ancestry were allowed in the to immigrate per year, like, it was
oh, yeah.
really, um,
I thought that
some
was
good things I learned. Yeah.
interesting to learn about as well. Uh,
Mhm.
and, just also remind you of, you know, yeah, there's um, the U.S. has come a long way in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways it's still the same. Like nothing is really all that different
Mhm.
from back then.
Yeah.
And then there was another line in here. Oh, um,
Or sometimes we make progress and then go backwards. So
yep. Uh, page 213. On the top of that, he says, I try to see things from the Oran Pandit's point of view. What would I do if strangers came to my home? What if they threatened my peace, my way of life, my family? And what if they acted like they had the right to do it? And that was such a good line and a good reminder of, everything that's still going on in Palestine. Uh,
Mhm.
and also, when he says that line, like, what would I do if strangers came to my home, threatened my peace, my way of life, my family? it also makes me think of like um uh how like everyone uh you know in the US and I'm sure other places as well, but especially US and Israel, how they are so um what am I how they've like labeled Hamas as a terrorist group, terrorist organization.
Mhm.
And it's like you guys are the ones who created them because of your oppression. This
Mhm.
is what happens when you colonize and oppress a group a group of people. Do you really think there's not gonna get to a point where they're gonna rise up and fight back? Like, of course
Exactly.
they're eventually gonna fight back. Anyone would. So it also goes to remind us like you know, whenever uh, a group or whenever someone is labeled a certain way, it's like, who's telling the story here?
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
so,
Preach it, preach it. Yeah, and it shows this selflessness with Cody that more people need to show, like where he's being introspective and thinking about what would happen if that was him. How would it affect him and his family, and how would he react? And so he deletes the video of the orang pendek, so that, and at the end he says, "I'm sorry we invaded your space or your place, and I want to say more if I can find the words and think of the right answers." But he turns back and makes a nimble dash into the trees. "I'm not going to be a rich and famous cryptid hunter." And so, like, he wasn't just thinking about himself, like, "This is going to make me rich, this is going to make me so much money, I don't care what I do to other people, I'm going to walk all over people to get what I want." It's like he thought about it and he's like, this is not worth this. So um
which
more
is
people need to think that way.
colonizers never do, which is why
Yeah.
this stuff happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's uh, what is it? It goes to what was that? There was a movie that came out a little while ago, I think, like couple months ago, I think. One battle after another. Have you seen that?
Oh no.
Well, in that one, um, it follows this rebel group that is like fighting against the government system and stuff. But like it, there's more to the story than that. But my thinking was how like uh, you look at that group, and depending on who's telling the story, like
Mm,
they would consider themselves rebels or revolutionaries, resistant fighters.
yeah.
But from the other side, they would be labeled as terrorists. Uh,
Hmm.
and so, you know, uh, it's like that saying, victory is written, or history is written by the victors.
Mm,
How history is told depends on who won the fight.
yeah.
Um,
So true. I'm really glad you brought those points up. So they got some deep stuff in this middle grade here.
yeah, I wasn't expecting this one to make me think about all of that.
I know.
I think that's why this one ended up being my second favorite because I
Mhm.
was like, I wasn't expecting to go deep and reflect so much on this story. Um,
I know, it's like, oh my gosh, I have so much written for a lot of these, like just
yeah.
not wanting to forget anything and good lines and stuff. Um,
Uh, um, let's see.
um, let's see.
Let's see. I think the other one that I had a lot of marks on was Melody and the Eternal Battle.
That was the one I flipped to talk about. I was like, okay, if we talk about one more, what do I want to talk about? And I flipped to that one.
Yeah, that one.
That has the barong.
Mhm.
And Jessie Q Satanto. Her name sounds familiar. Hold on. I read. Oh, wait, I can look at the thing here. I was like, I feel like I've either read something of hers or. Oh, yeah, Vera Wong. Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers and Dial A for Aunties. I read Dial A for Aunties. And so, hey, she's good at contemporary mysteries and fantasy.
I have read others,
Hmm.
so I'll have to check them out. But let's see.
Yeah, this one, like, there were so many good like this was another one I liked because of the parallels between like Milati and the Barong. Um
This one had the one with the bullying, with the girls that were bullying the
mhm.
one, and she stood up for her, and the girl she stood up for joined the bullies. I was
Yeah.
like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Uh,
That and yeah, and they were like and they couldn't just like end with just kind of like sneering at her in the classroom there, all that stuff, but then they like took her bag and threw it, in the
uh-huh,
forest that she had to, you know, try to find it. She either would leave it and then they'd be making fun of her, but she's like she finally got something that was like this super expensive backpack that she couldn't afford on her own. Um so oh yeah, I liked this like on the first page of the story on page 256. She swore then and there it was the single most beautiful thing Melody had ever seen. She swore then and there to guard it with her life. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe she jinxed it by swearing such a thing. Maybe the universe had heard her say those words and gone, "Oh, really? You'd guard it with your life, would you? Well, let's see you do that then."
uh-huh.
And so she was like wanting to go home, but then she's just like, she said here perhaps the worst part of the bullying was that it had become her new normal. It was like, no, Melody, you must be protected at all costs. Um,
But I do like that um, when she came upon the fight with the Barang, even though she um, she had the uh, instinct to um, leave, especially with sticking up for the one girl who didn't appreciate it, didn't stick up for her back.
yeah.
She was still though willing to stick up or help the Barong. It says, she should run. She knew more than ever before the kind of trouble that came with jumping in to save someone, which is what happened with the other one before. Run, her survival instincts shouted at her. No, Melody whispered. Her voice was so tiny, even she couldn't hear it above the shrieking of the creatures, but she felt it all the way inside her. No, no, she would not admit defeat. No, she would not let Barong be defeated by Rangda. No, despite everything that happened, she would not turn her back on someone in trouble, not if she could help it.
Yes, I love that. Like she helps save this spirit
Mm-hmm.
fighting the demon, and they're both like, "You save me, no, you save me." Um, and the heartbreaking thing of this story is like that like Rangda can never die. She's darkness come to life. She exists because I do, and we're stuck in an
Mm-hmm.
eternal battle, a cycle of light and dark. And then
Mm-hmm.
she's like, then what's the point? Why keep fighting when win or lose, you know you'll just have to get up and do it all over again? Tears pricked her eyes when she thought of the dozens of mean pranks that Ningse, Permata, and Putri had played on her. As much as she tried to fight back, they would always outnumber her. They'd always keep picking on her, and she was tired, so tired. And the Barong says, life is a constant struggle between the two, a never ending fight to do the right thing. I know it is exhausting, my child, but your light will shine brighter than any darkness. Do not let it go out. Of all, and then on the next page, of all the good in the world, or all of the good in the world has happened because of people like you, people who wake up every day and choose to be the light that the world needs, no matter how much the darkness threatens to overwhelm them. And is that not a beautiful thing worth holding on to? Oh, another one where I'm just like a puddle of mush.
Yep. Yeah, I marked all of that too. And then, uh,
Oh, hold on. Let me just let Zuko in. He's meowing like a banshee. Okay, sorry. He's just was like,
I also marked the last line on that page. Going into the next one. The roads began not long after that, and though Melody's heart ached, she smiled a little. Barong and Rangda would repeat their eternal dance, and there was something beautiful in that, in his refusal to let darkness win. Melody would do the same. She couldn't wait to go back and face the other kids, backpack or no backpack, and tell them exactly what happened. Uh,
oh,
so I like that lesson of like the lesson she got there was like, yeah, even like the world needs more people that are willing to fight the darkness, even though it's a never ending battle,
hmm,
but it's worth the fight. And the other thing this story reminded me of is, you know, the whole theme of good versus evil, good overcoming evil, is such
hmm,
um, a universal uh, theme throughout humanity that is why we see it all the time in all of our stories. We just there's something about being able to overcome that darkness um, that you know everyone really loves.
yeah.
Although I was also thinking with this one, um, I wrote down an interesting question would be when and how do we embrace our inner darkness without letting it take over the life. Because I think there is a thing to embracing some of our inner darkness as well, instead of trying to suppress it or hide it or run from it.
Wow.
I think, there's stuff that we can learn from embracing our inner darkness.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of a balancing act. We can
Mm.
embrace that without letting it take over the light.
Oh gosh, wow. I love that. Yeah, there's this delicate balance, this play between the light and the dark that you're always going to have to work with. So,
Because all of us have
yeah.
both light and dark in us. So it's a matter of you know, how do you make sure the light shines through without
Mm.
suppressing the dark? Because I think that's the other thing is I think when you try to suppress it
Mm.
too much, that is when it, that's when a lot of unhealthy things can come out of it, I think. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's one of, you know, one of the things I was realizing when I deconstructed and left religion was we were hearing about all these scandals and stuff that are happening in churches nationwide. There's always this pastor abused this person, or this scandal came out about the church, or whatever. And I go back to thinking a lot of religion is, whether they want to admit it or not, a lot of it heavily restricts a lot of things in people's lives. It restricts a lot of the way you can express yourself or be, um, and the things you are interested in. It suppresses a lot of those things. And because of that, I think, you know, like, I almost lost my train of thought. So, what I was thinking was because, obviously, with religion, you have the big rules or the big stuff. Um, but by, I guess what I'm trying to say is by making it so, what's the word I'm looking for? Restrictive, by making it so restrictive and being no, you can't do this, you can't do that. That tends to come out. I think that's what we're seeing come out in unhealthy ways. Uh,
Hmm.
like, just for example, with uh, Christianity, sex before marriage is something that's a big no-no, right? Um, you have purity culture and all this stuff surrounding sex outside of marriage. And because of it being so restrictive and stuff, I think that's, kind of why we see some of the um, abuse and stuff that comes out of that. Because you're not giving people a healthy way to express their sexuality and to explore that. And so
Mhm.
if you're not giving them a healthy way to do that, and you're just restricting them and shaming them, well, then that's going to come out in unhealthy, destructive ways.
Exactly. Yeah. Because yeah, I've like heard of people who then when they do get married, they have a hard time being intimate with their spouse because they always were taught that this was an evil, bad thing, and if I consummate the marriage, everyone's gonna know now that I've done this, and so it's just like these things shape you and can affect you more than you think.
Uh-huh.
So those are some good points that you bring up, and um, I think yeah that see, diving so deep into this and seeing that like it really goes like just beyond what the main character's going through, but we can apply this to like anything really. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I did not really expect this book to make me think so much about all these things. Um, but it's really interesting that it did. I didn't even realize going into it that it was going to be a middle grade anthology. Um,
Oh.
for some reason, I was thinking YA or adult,
Mhm.
and I started reading it, and I was like, "Oh, these are mostly middle grade stories." Okay,
This kid's 12, you know.
yeah, and so, but even that just goes to show you, a good story is a good story, no matter what age category it's targeted to, because
Yeah.
you know it made me think about a lot of things uh,
Mhm.
reading some of these stories. So
And that yeah, and that's one of the nice things I think too why like I like middle grade a lot is because like when there's not this other aspect of romance, which some middle grades have romance and that's fine, but like the main um idea of a lot of middle grades are friendships and family dynamics and things like that. So I like middle grades because we get to discover some of these other things that aren't just a romantic relationship. So we
yeah,
got plenty of those stories.
yeah,
So yeah, so definitely if there are other stories that you guys want to talk about that we did not talk about, please join us in the Goodreads forums. There is a thread specifically for The Beast Beneath the Winds, because there are, lots of other ones that we both, I know, enjoyed. Um, so either post in the comments here on the YouTube channel or in the Goodreads forums, and we would love to have you be part of the discussion too. Um, so yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm really glad we got to talk about and that we aligned on like all of our favorites. That was great. Um, and so then we are a week into December. So please join us for our in December indie published book, which is One Must Die by Candice Petraza Yamnates et al. This is a steampunk murder mystery. It's only 200 pages long and it's a smaller book. So, this is going to be a fast read for people that they can handle for the holidays. So, definitely check it out. One Must Die. So, it sounds like it'll be fun. We
yeah,
can join in the mystery of this murder mystery. So,
yeah.
and then in about a week, we will be posting the book poll for January, which I know throughout the year, all the books that I'm like, okay, it's going to come out in January. Or once it hits like September, it's like, well, October, it has to be a spooky book. November, it has to be an anthology or short book. December is an indie book. So, like, if it's not in September, it gets added to January. So, we'll have lots of good picks to choose from for sure. Um, But yeah, thank you guys for joining. Vanessa, thank you for joining me for this good discussion.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, we won't see you guys before the holiday, so have a safe and happy holiday. Have a safe and happy new year. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy I'm saying that. And we will see you guys next year. Bye, everyone.